Yo, welcome back, D to the M, and today we're gonna warm up and draw Spawn, medieval Spawn. Check it out. Of course, you know Spawn was created by Todd McFarlane, OG, comic book illustrator, and I like to start with the center line and just the basic fundamentals, primitive shapes. I get my torso, my hips. I want to have the character walking, like moving forward towards the viewer. And it's really simple. I mean, a lot of people think it's really difficult because it's a very simple pose. So it should be easy to draw, but it's very difficult because a lot of times you don't realize that your center line is important when it comes to simple poses. And without having to say it, I'll just have you observe what I'm doing. All the lines you might think are not necessary are essential in creating a simple posture, such as someone moving towards you or walking forward. I'm not going to point out what I'm doing. I want you to, with your eyes, see it for yourself. We wouldn't want to cheat. Okay, so as you can see, I'm blocking out everything. I'm refining simple lines, trying to gather everything with information, of course. This is all in my visual library. I've done this a million times. This is a warm-up, so you'll notice my lines are sketchy, which is usually every morning when you wake up, you have sketchy lines, and then after this warm-up, my lines will be a lot more linear rather than sketchy, which is actually where you want to be. As you can see, my lines are getting more confident as I warm up. That's what warm-ups are for. Trying to make sure everything is in proportion. Proportion is important. It really is, because otherwise someone's going to say that doesn't look in proportion, or that something's wrong with that picture. It's because you didn't, put in the time to make sure that that person didn't have the ability to say so. I mean, you're always going to find some things that aren't correct, especially when it comes to comic books, because comic book illustration is not something that should be labored over for days or weeks or months. It should be something that you could do in a day, and it's done quickly with confidence. And that's the reason why comic books, at least from its inception, should be dynamic looking. There should be motion. It's animated. If it takes you too long to do something, then you know what? Comic books might not be the field you want to be into, because this is the thing that professionals will look at you sideways if say, I could do 2 pages a week. Yeah, they'll look at you sideways. What? They look at John Buscema, Jack Kirby, cats like this. We're doing 1 or more pages a day. John Byrne. Come on, man. We could all do better. So, I would say the goal is to be quick. Not just quick, but make sure your stuff is readable. Like people, when they look at your stuff, they know exactly who and what they're looking at. If you're slow, I mean, listen, if you give anybody enough time to do a masterpiece, then they're going to give you a masterpiece. But when it comes to comic books, it should be a page a day or more. No ho hums and no if ands. Oh, I could have done it better. Yeah, you could have done it better. But how how good are you within these time constraints? Okay, and that's really important because when it comes to the customer, I talk about this. When it comes to the customer, they're buying a product that should come out monthly, and if you can't capture um, the ability to create a product that comes out monthly, then you're going to lose people's interest. That's just, I'll go to something else, something that's more consistent. I should talk, but I have patrons, and I'm very consistent when it comes to that. When it comes to YouTube and I guess social media, trying to post everything I do is very difficult because it's not my first instinct when I start drawing something for a client is to film it. It's not my first instinct at all. But we are in the age of AI and social media. I don't know. I don't want to say fame. Let's say social media. What's another word for fame? Um, Recognition, I guess. And yeah, put yourself out there more. Let people know you're around, so they can see. Oh, here's somebody, that I haven't seen, and I like their work better than so and so or less than so and so. I'm not saying to try to be better. You want to be better than yourself when it comes to, I don't care, illustrating, if you're making music, if you're dancing, right? You want to be better tomorrow than you were today. And it's always a goal to level up. And in this case, I hate the fact that I have to. I don't know. I really don't have to film everything I illustrate, but it's not a terrible thing. I'm gonna be sitting here drawing anyway, so why not just turn the camera on and film myself doing what I would be doing anyways. The problem is, and it's not really a big problem. It's a very interesting problem. Is when I film myself drawing, I am very preoccupied with the fact that someone's going to view this video, and sometimes that discourages me, or not necessarily discourages me, but it sidetracks me. I get preoccupied. I can't think of, I should be able to just lose my mind and flow in rhythm with what I'm drawing, but now in the back of my mind I'm like, oh, people are watching, which I've done before. And that, to me, that's what a true artist can do. A true artist can perform in front of people and not really have a problem with it, right? Like a musician, okay, or a dancer, and all it aspires to music. So same thing with illustrating. So I'm gonna go ahead and just film everything I do, and I mean, especially these days with AI. Like, you can cheat with AI, but why would you cheat if you know how to do what you're doing, right? You wouldn't. You would just do it. So now I'm getting less sketchy, as you can see, because this is the warm-up, right? You warm up, you're sketchy. Alright, and once you define your sketchy lines into something that you can read, then you can go ahead and start fine lining, more confident lines. And yeah, there's no such thing as a straight line. I'm not drawing straight lines. All my lines are curved. Actually, there is such a thing as a straight line. The only problem is our eyes see it curved. So, relative to the eye, that straight line will always be curved. So, but it is a straight line. There is such things as straight lines. Don't get it twisted. It's already twisted. So I'm drawing the levels of his armor. Of course, you got a shoulder armor. You got a couple lats going down. Cover your tricep area. In between, you got a elbow guard. And then the forearm gauntlet. And I'm just freestyling here. I don't even care what I'm doing. I have a feeling what I'm doing. But it's not, well, I can't say it's not necessarily understood. I do have an idea already in my head. So it's not as clear as it looks like. While I put down these lines, I'm really confident. Still not positive. I know he's going to have a battle axe right here. A lot of this is intuitive. And the thing about being intuitive, when it comes to intuition, drawing, is you need to have a catalog. And you can see how, okay, look at this battle axe. I figured out the dimensions. It's a flat square. Just so I can draw the battle axe in that same perspective. Bam. See, very simple. Bazoom. Badow. Right? And it looks correct because I've taken into consideration beforehand the perspective angles. Okay, so none of this is done. I mean, okay, yes. Freestyle. There's a difference between freestyling and knowing what you're doing, and freestyling and not knowing what you're doing. And that's very obvious if you were to observe such things taking place. But all this is freestyle based on things that I have an understanding of. So it looks very simple, and it is. Once you know how to do it. If you don't know how to do it, then it's not simple at all. It's very intricate. And it's still not simple, and it's still very intricate, even if you know how to do it. The difference is you know how to do it, and you get it done quickly, as opposed to trying to figure out something that you don't know how to do. It's very simple. If you know how to do it, it doesn't take long to figure out how to build your piece. It still doesn't mean it's simple. It's relative. The same line, the marks that I'm making here will be the same marks I would be making if I didn't know what I was doing. The difference is, since I know what I'm doing, it's easier for me to do something complex. And this is all guesswork based on what I know as far as how the human body works and how as you can see, that leg that I'm drawing right there is going backwards. And I think the knee is a little low. I think the knee should be a little higher. Just a little bit higher. But I don't think I realized that until later. Because, you have to eyeball stuff. When you try to do stuff fast, you rely on your instincts, and sometimes you gotta chill out. You gotta sit back. If something don't look right, if something's off, just take a chill pill, sit back, come back to it later, and then you'll see immediately, oh, that's what I should have done. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to do it fast, and the reason why is because I'm filming it for, people to watch, so they know I'm legit. Because it's hard to tell these days who's legit A lot of people are using AI, and which is fine. I'm not gonna put it down. I'm just saying, you know, you have to, you have to. If you don't, you don't. I don't. I don't need AI, so it's not really a problem for me to draw without it or to talk about it. Um, Here's where his spikes are gonna be. Just drawing those circles out, like planning, right? So then you start drawing the spikes. Center of his boot on that side. Put some utility belt with some pouches, whatever. And he's got some weird centerpiece and some hip guards. Kind of like his shoulders, shoulder guards. Of course, Spawn is always Scully. He's got skulls all over the place. He's got some chains, which I did not address in the finished piece. Those chains. I'm thinking about the chains right here. I'm like, I could do this, I could do that. Man, so much work. It's insane. And it's difficult to get it right when you're trying to go fast. But, I mean, this piece take maybe about an hour and a half, close to 2 hours, so it's not really a lot of time. If I would have put more, like another hour in it, maybe 2 hours in it, I would have refined those chains and had them looking right, but I did not do that. Instead, I erased it and kept going forward. He's got a skull on this shoulder piece. I'm trying to use, piece coming off the side. It should not be difficult for you to understand angles, right? He's got a skull on his shoulder pad, and here comes his arm. You know how his arm's going to look. His hand, the placement of the hand is important. You see right here? As you can see, the hand was already placed before I started drawing the arm. And that is actually a good method to drawing arms. Draw the hand first, then draw the arm. A lot of times you draw an arm in your hand. Why does my hand look right? Why is it over here? Because that's not where you wanted to place the hand. And you drew the arm first, and now you're forced to put your hand right where the arm ends. No, don't do that. Draw your hands first, and then connect the arm between the body or shoulder and the hand. That's a quick little tip. Of course, some shoulder armor here. And elbow armor. Got a little gauntlet going on here. Similar to the other side, which is armored forearm. And he also has like a ram skin type of medieval fur under that other shoulder armor. This forearm armor got straps. And spikes. More spikes. Get nice and pointy. This is medieval Spawn, by the way. So now here, that original sketch is drawn on typing paper, so it's not archival. And this is a method that I use. I like to draw it out first and then trace it on archival paper. And the reason why is because if I were to sketch this out on the Bristol, the archival Bristol, it would be a hell of a mess to clean up. So rather than do that, I do the rough sketch on typing paper. and then I trace my own work, not tracing somebody else's. Why would I need to trace somebody else's work? That's for hacks, right? And not just hacks, but you know what? Anyone who uses AI right now, they're hacks, flat out. Yeah, I said it. Can't draw your own stuff? Hack. All right, so I'm going straight for the inks. Now I don't necessarily always go straight for the inks. Sometimes I do go for a pencil, but in this case, I'm trying to do something really quickly. I'm not trying to do something. I am doing something really quickly. So I'm going straight for the inks. And I might occasionally use a pencil just because my confidence is not as, solid as I would like, especially since it's a warm up. When I'm done with this, yeah, my confidence is up. I could draw anything under the sun. But you can see my lines are getting more confident as I'm going along, and this is what warm ups are good for. It's to put you in. It's like when you warm up to go running, right? You do your stretches. If you didn't do your stretches, right, what's gonna happen? Your legs are gonna lock up. You're gonna have cramps. You're gonna have Charlie horses or whatever. So this right here, what I'm doing with this sketch is a warm up, and anything I do after this is golden. No stress, no fuss, because I worked out all my kinks. No Charlie horse, nothing. Just boom, get to it. I should be using a brush. When we were filling in with what is that? A number? Is that a 01? Yeah, you don't want to fill in with 01. I forgot that I was filming, so that's what happens when you forget you're filming. That's what happens when you don't give a shit. You just keep going, and that's what is more important than filming yourself drawing is the draw. Alright, I don't have enough people looking at my videos anyways to really care. But, I don't know, why not? Screw it, just do it. I do have to, I do have to remind myself to press record and not forget that I just put it on pause. And that's something that is new. It's very new. Alright, without this press record and pause and all this stuff, I would have done this anyways. Everything I'm drawing here, and probably would have got done. No, it would definitely would have got done a lot quicker than it's getting done right now. While I'm trying to be preoccupied with filming. I'm trying to make interesting shapes out of what I already have. I'm trying to clean it up as well. And make things a little bit more clear. Like this gauntlet here, I want to make sure those straps. And the gauntlet itself is well defined from the wrist to the hand armor to the forearm armor. The straps that hold it together. A little elbow socket there. And skulls have to also be in some kind of angle or perspective that makes sense. And hopefully it reads the way I want it to read, perspective wise, and nothing is obscured, nothing is like like what the hell is he doing? Yeah, you should It should be very simple to understand what he's doing. Even though it is even though it is an intricate drawing, it's a very simple posture that he has, walking forward towards the viewer. Probably about to take your head. He is Hellspawn, so, and it is medieval times, so man, if he's walking towards you, he's probably about to take your head because you have done something. And I changed his foot for some reason. I don't know, because it looked fine the way it was. And it looks okay the way it is that way. It kind of gives it more dynamic, in my opinion. Maybe it's just as dynamic as it was before. I don't know. I made him pigeon toed. And his toes go in for some reason. I don't know why. I'm not pigeon toed myself, but so it's not like a self insert. I just thought I would give him some kind of weird characteristic. And determining where his knee is, his kneecap. And that's a shorthand that I have with my primitive shapes. I usually put a circular kneecap in between the upper and the lower leg. And always keeping that in mind. You can't. He's got a lot of armor on, but as you can see, I'm drawing on top of basically his naked body. You can see the lines underneath that spell out his anatomy, and all this other stuff goes on top. And this is basically how it's done. If you're not doing this, then I can do this without drawing the physical underneath. It's intuitive, and it will probably look correct. And then there are times where I will do the same thing and it won't look correct, and I have to go back and observe my primitive forms to make it correct. And that's just, how it's done. If you're an illustrator who's drawn a human figure a million times, then you understand what I'm talking about. Not just a million times, but like in different, like in any angle, any active form or shape, flipping through the air, what have you. If you know how to draw the human form from imagination, then it's because you have studied enough life, as well as you understand your primitive shapes. And how the human body is proportioned. If you don't know how to do that, then and you want to, then go ahead, learn. And the best way to learn that is to draw. Just keep drawing. Like, if you want to draw somebody doing something in particular, go ahead. Go ahead and do that. And if you find yourself struggling, like, why can't I draw this from imagination? I want to draw this particular thing. I want to draw this person doing this particular thing. Why am I having trouble? Why are you having trouble? A, because you've never drawn it before. B, you need reference. Go get reference. Ask a friend. Yo, can you do me a favor and come over here and stand like this so I can draw it? Right? Or pose yourself, take a picture. Alright? And then draw it. Figure it out. Learn what it is that you're missing or you're not doing correctly, so that you can do it correctly. And then I guarantee you, you will not forget. And it will always stick in your mind. It will be part of your visual library. And you'll be able to pull it out whenever you want. And there's no such thing as imposter syndrome when you get there. Jim Lee likes to talk about his greatest fear is he's gonna wake up and forget how to draw. Yeah, guys like Jim Lee could say that because it's not gonna happen. Man always knows because he's drawn. He's drawn so many times, repetition. He knows what he's doing, and that's why it's his biggest fear. But I doubt, I have not seen him forget how to draw. So, and me myself, I remember how to draw. It's not. As difficult a thing it is to learn how to draw, it is not as difficult to draw once you learned how to draw. Might be difficult for everybody else, but that's what AI is for. Go get you some AI. Go make a prompt. Alright, go make your prompts. Let that random seed that dictate what the hell comes out, and I'll take that same prompt and make the same image. So, as opposed to drawing something on your own, where there's one of a kind. So, yeah, to get in the process, I flip it just to see if there's anything funky looking, and there is. In my opinion, there is some funky looking symmetry going on here. So I examine it, but it's not too much. It's not as bad as I would think. I think I need more shoulder pad. Yeah. That's about it. Just to make sure that shoulder's up, so I have that contra post from the shoulder line and the hip line. I want it contrapunto. So let's raise that, make it huge. Tortoise type shell. Yeah, let's work it out. Work it out. Damn, I'm hungry. I'm gonna get something to eat. Be right back. Drawing spikes. We done yet? No, we're not done. We gotta get them spikes on that gauntlet. Right? Are we bored yet? We're already an hour in. I'm bored. I'm bored watching this shit. Yeah, dropping stuff. Okay. Like I said before, I'm going in and out with pencils and inks, and I'm starting to get a stutter here in my video, which I did not anticipate. But here we are. Alright. And some artifacts going there. Now we're back to and the rest of this here is just inking. Basic finishing. And here's the reason why you want to try to work as fast as possible when you do stuff like this, because you really get bored and you want to finish something quickly so you can move on to the next. Keep moving. Keep it moving. It's like any other task. Any other task. If you ever mopped or swept the floor or washed dishes at a restaurant or what have you. It's the same principle. Knowing what you're doing, trusting the process, starting from point A and finishing at point Z with confidence, because you've done it several times before. It becomes intuitive. This is, I guess, the definition of draftsmanship. Paying attention to details and making sure that those details are readable to the utmost extent. It doesn't have to be Leonardo da Vinci or Miguel Agnolo, although, like I said before, that does not hurt. What it has to be is readable. People look at it, they have to know what they're looking at. And hopefully it looks cool. Like it's something that, wow, that looks great. Rather than, oh, that's, my kid can draw something like that. So the last place you want to be is somebody saying, oh, my son can draw just, or my daughter can draw just like that. Actually, it's good for the son and daughter. That's a compliment. But as an illustrator, you want something something that's visually appealing, that when someone looks at it, they're like, wow, I can't believe someone actually did that. That's possible for someone to draw. In this case, I'm drawing something very quickly, and as opposed to something, let's say I was drawing this as a realistic oil portrait painting, that might take a week to draw. In this case, I'm not worried about that. I'm trying to draw something quickly, as best as I can. Hopefully that's cooler than somebody else's stuff. I don't know, whoever. You want the guy, okay, you're an illustrator, you're an artist, and you admire another particular artist or two or three, you want to draw stuff that those guys will look at and be like, wow, I like that. Okay, once you get to that point, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. That's the people you admire like your stuff. That's great. That's a good place to be. Problem is drawing quickly is not, you're not going to get your best unless I don't know. In this case, it's a good position. It's a good pose. Everything looks good. If I wanted to look better, I would just take more time coloring it, but that's not the goal. The goal is to finish it quickly so you can move on to the next project. Of course, you want it to look good, but Peter said, "Oh, it can always look better, right?" Well, that's all in good. You still want it to look good. I'm getting bored watching myself draw. Ugh. I don't know what to talk about. I have no idea. I'm trying to be entertaining because my drawing obviously is drawing. Knowing how to draw is not enough. You got to be able to talk shit, and you got to be able to entertain people with your jargon. And not that I'm a introvert. I'm an absolute extrovert. The problem is when I'm being extroverted, I don't produce as much as I produce when I'm introverted. I enjoy social. I'm not antisocial at all. I love socializing and mixing it up with people. It's just not productive. It's counterproductive to illustrating. You want to illustrate something, you can't just be hanging out, mingling with a bunch of people. You have to hunker down and yeah, hunker down. And you start working like a robot now. Lines coming out perfect. Learn from that. You gotta learn from that. So this is the purpose of warming up is be more competent with your lines. I've said it before, I'll say it again. As you can see while I'm working on this, I am more competent with those lines. I've been working on this piece already for probably an hour, so my lines are definitely, my wrist, my shoulder, my elbow is all more confident, and I'm ready to go. Problem is I need to finish this piece first. And usually when I do a warm-up, it's just to get the kinks out every morning to work on the comic book I'm working on, which once it's done, I will let you guys know. And I'll start my campaign on Fund My Comic or Indiegogo, Kickstarter, and I will let you guys know. I don't want to start it now because I want to make sure it's done. And whenever I post a video of me warming up, it's everything I do after that warm up is to produce the comic book I'm working on. I have a couple comic books I'm working on. And the problem is I need to figure out which one I want to launch a campaign with first, so that way I could just decide and finish that one. And that's what I need to do. And once that one's done, I can go ahead and proceed to finish the other one, and the other one, and the other one. I got 4 that I'm working on, but you're not allowed to see it until it's done. So until then, you're just gonna have to deal with this, my warm-ups. And believe me, I have filmed all the illustrations that I've done for my book, and I just don't want to leak that stuff until my campaign, so that way you guys can watch how I put together a comic book. This finger smudge, yes, the finger smudge. This gives you an idea of where you want to put your shadows. Anybody who doesn't finger smudge is a priss. Get your hands dirty. Get your hands dirty. Alright? Oh, wow, look at that. Forget I was filming. I love the pause record feature. I just forget to unpause sometimes. And that might happen a couple of times in this video. I might jump forward because I forgot to unpause. Some spikes need some shading, some shadows. Armor needs, yeah, so as you can see, I'm using my pencil because I am not, although I'm warming up, I am not at the point where I can confidently ink the appropriate areas with my brush. So I'm going to go ahead and use my pencil to map out those areas that I want to ink with my brush. Ugh. I'm about to fall asleep watching this. I don't even know if I'm going to post this video. I would put some music in the background, but I don't want to get copyright stricken. It's really interesting. I watch other videos of people drawing, and I'm fascinated. And I'm wondering if my videos are just as fascinating. Because to me it's not, because I've done this before, and it's like, I remember doing this, yeah, right. I gotta watch myself do it again. I'd rather be drawing something else, but I'm putting voiceover for this, and so I can post it. Because for some reason that's important these days. You want people to see your stuff. Like I said, I have a clientele right now that already know about me. I don't need YouTube videos or posts or anything like that. They understand where I'm coming from, and I get work, but there's nothing wrong with getting more work, so I'll go ahead and post my stuff and see how that works. Although nobody watches my videos, I believe I've been making videos on YouTube for years, probably a decade now, and not that I'm consistent and make them every day, because that's not necessarily something I need to do. But at this point, I would like to see how far I can take it. Therefore, I am making videos of me drawing. So I'm not faking the funk. I'm not using artificial intelligence. I'm not tracing over somebody else's work. Full off sans ref based on imagination. I'm just trying to let you guys know that it's possible. You can do it. Anyone could do it. If I can do it, guarantee anyone could do it. Everyone could do it. Just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of effort to understand what you're doing. And once you do, you can do it. This is all freestyle. Freestyle. There's a wall. Let's make a brick wall. Some masonry, random style block bricks. Sure. Go ahead. And that's what I'm doing here. It's all intuitive. I'm not using much thought. I'm just going for it. This is not something undoable. This is something anyone could do. If you think you could draw, guess what? You can. You just haven't tried. And you haven't tried hard enough. The harder you try to learn how to draw, the easier it becomes. Oh, this is intuitive. Oh, he's looking pretty beefy. Man, he got all his gear. He looked good right here. Here I go with my brush. Go ahead and spot all the black areas. Make sure there's a solid shadow in the appropriate areas. You have to be really delicate with this so as not to lay any ink down in the wrong areas. You want to make sure your inks are laid down in particular areas that are appropriate for your illustration. I love inking with a brush because there's something about the brush that lends itself to, I don't know, there's just something about it. If you use a thin line rapidograph, you can fill like all these black areas you can fill in with a pen, like nib, and it will take so long to do it. Not so long, but look how quickly a brush does it. It's just boom. And once you get to know the tip, once you get to know the brush nib, how it works, and it becomes an extension of your own hand, it's not a difficult task. I mean, it's always going to be difficult to somebody who doesn't know how to do it. Always. Once you know how to do it, it's not difficult. It's difficult learning, though. But once you learn, you're going to be good. And that's the difference between somebody who uses AI and someone who doesn't. Because the one who doesn't use the AI knows what he's doing. And who has to use AI. It's because they don't know how to do it. So it's apparent as well as obvious. Oh, I just made a comic book and I used AI. Well, why didn't you draw it yourself? Because I don't know how. Oh, okay. That makes sense. I hope you're not charging as much as somebody who's actually drawn it because no one actually drew it. I would say something I've said before. Let's say a comic book, let's say the price of a comic book is $8, which to me is fucking insane considering when I first started buying comic books they were 35 cents. Let's say the price of a floppy comic book is, I can't say, 7 is ridiculous too. Let's say $7. Okay. And then somebody creates a comic book floppy. It was done by artificial intelligent art. Quotation, unquote. Well, the comic book done with actual illustrator, colorists, like human beings, those people have to get paid. So why would I pay $7 for a comic book that was artificially intelligent made? No. If it's made by artificial intelligence, then I'm not going to pay $7. I might pay $1. Yeah, might. Okay? I might, I probably won't even look at it if it's artificial intelligently made. I don't care how good the story is, man. Go get an artist, man. Go pay a real person. Put some food on somebody's table. Otherwise, you got no business charging $7. If it's artificially done, then charge $1. Right? You're gonna profit because you didn't pay nobody anyway. So that's all I'm saying. You'll profit. You didn't pay nobody to draw, so I don't think there's a problem with charging $1 for your artificially drawn comic book. Yeah, if you're paying somebody, charge $7 or more. Who knows? You got people charging crazy prices for comic books these days. Independent. It's incredible. Yeah, if you're using artificial, yes, not like a. And the problem with artificial, I hate to say art because it's not art. It's it's not creating art. It's using art from other people to create new, so-called new images, and it's, I don't want to say it's not fair. I want to say it's fine as long as you're not charging $7 because you're not paying anyone to do it really. And it's all mimicked from some other person's artwork, has put together, patched, like, you know, putanesca, you know. But yeah, so I wouldn't have a problem if you were selling a comic book that was totally artificially made, artificial intelligence, art, or writing even. Don't don't charge more than $1 for that shit. You can afford, right? Because you didn't pay nobody. You can afford to charge $1 for that shit. I wouldn't pay more than $1 anyways for some artificial shit. Oh, I'm starting to get tired, man. Are you as bored as I am? Probably. Probably. Yeah, this is gonna be the boredom. Cause I need to be doing something else right now instead of making this voiceover. I need to be rolling a doobie. That's what I need to be doing. Maybe break open a bottle of beer or make something to eat. Crack open this bottle of vodka. I don't know. Something. I gotta be doing something else besides making this voiceover. Excuse me. Yep. As you can see, inking is very tedious work. Even if you are like me, trying to go quickly, it's still very tedious. It's crazy how tedious it is. You have to consider everything. Just so it reads. It's chainmail, has to read as chainmail. It's incredibly meticulous. And there's my air conditioner remote. Get in there and erase. Erase some particulars. Ooh-wee. About to fall asleep. Oy vey. But yeah, this is what it is. People like to watch people draw. People, maybe don't find it as boring as I do. I find it boring to watch people, at least watch myself draw. I like to watch, you know what? I do like to watch other people draw. It is fascinating and it's not boring. It's not. Watching myself draw is boring though, because I've already done it. I just have to remember to turn my microphone on next time I'm filming, so I don't have to do a voiceover. Yeah, I must have got up and went to the bathroom or something. I have no more, well, here I am. Here I am, and what is that? A Micron 01? It's a fine liner, and I'm using, I think in my hand right there is probably a, looks like a 005. Let's see, let's make sure. Nope, that's a 03. Okay. A little thicker than a 01. I probably put that 01 down because I didn't need to be as fine lined. I'm working pretty small anyways. It's an 8.5 by, actually it's an 8.5 by 12 legal size piece of Bristol board. It's all archival. As long as, you don't wipe your ass with this piece or set it on fire, it should last for a couple 100 years, maybe more. You can take care of it. Like the original piece I started, like sketching it on, that typing paper, that's gonna go brittle within 50 years. But this Bristol board is archival. It should stay. In 50 years, it should look the same. Unless you put it, if you put it in the sunlight, like if you put it in the window, hot sun, yeah, bakes it, then it will not last very long. You have to know how to store or keep such things. Yeah, you put it in the sunlight, the red's gonna fade, the ink will fade, the white will become yellowed, and the paper bond will become brittle. So yeah, don't put it in direct sunlight. Even though it might be best to photograph the image in sunlight, because that's where you get your true image. You don't want to keep it in sunlight. You want to keep it somewhere where minimal sunlight is possible. Just like your body, your skin. You don't want to. I mean, some of us don't get sunburn. Some of us do, and those who do, you don't want to. But artwork always gets sunburn, so you definitely want to keep it out of the sun. I almost want to post this video without without any commentary. Can't think of anything new to say except, you know what, Ed Piskor, rest in peace, my friend. Never got to know him, and I think the comic book industry, the comic book world in general, has been cheated. Out of his presence. He undid himself for reasons that I cannot understand. I think he was an all or nothing kind of guy. And he got to a point, he was driven to a point where he decided that he wasn't getting on, and there was no going back, and um, he couldn't see a way out, and I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can. Okay, let's put it this way: if I were friends with him and we had each other's number, I would be calling it. I would have called him like, "Yo, no, you get over this. This is not the end all. Okay, 17-year-old female is not a girl. Okay, that's a young woman, and she's texting you. It's not a good idea to talk to her, right? But the last time I dated a 17-year-old girl, I was 15, and you cannot stop a 17-year-old girl from doing what she wants to do, regardless if you're her parent, boyfriend, or whatever, teacher. She's gonna go ahead and do what she wants to do. If she's got to sneak out of her room, what have you. I'm not condoning that type of behavior, but believe me, it's how it's always been. It's how it's always been. Romeo and Juliet. I can name a couple girls that I went out with when I was a young man, 15, 16 years old. And yeah, 17-year-old girls. They're not young girls. They're young women. Not that, at my age I would have anything to do with them, but understanding that simple fact is, yeah, okay. Um, it's a hassle. I wouldn't even bother. But even your girl said that, no, he was just creepy. Creepy? What creepy? Yo, to me, creepy has an element of fear, right? Where, right? Creepy or corny. There's two different things. I think she meant he was corny because there's nothing fearful. I mean, okay, the Red Room stuff, that was kind of a creepy comic book. Who knows? Maybe that's what creeped her out. I have no idea. The whole hitting on a young woman, to me, is cornier. Creepy has intentions. It's weird. I would do neither, right? But I mean, I don't know what was creepy about it. But yeah, she even admitted that it wasn't what people thought it was. But no one wants to talk about that. Now I will talk about who he accused were his murderers, just to keep it entertaining here, because I'm bored as fuck, and I want to talk about something that I think is important. Alex DeCampi, Ramon Villalobos. Okay? That's it. That's all I gotta say. You guys, um, he mentioned, and I think, in respect to Ed Piskor himself, I would like to echo that statement. And I believe him. I believe you did murder him. You could have shut the fuck up, not said a damn thing. But you didn't. You didn't. So I will believe Ed Piscor. And I'll put you on blast as well. I don't know who the fuck you are. I really don't care. I'm not trying to get into your industry. I really don't give a shit. I don't want to work for an industry that is not making good money. I would rather do my own thing. And if I got a job from Marvel or DC Comics, it would kind of be embarrassing to work for that company anymore. Would I take the position? Sure. It's money. Money's money. If I get my page rate, hell yeah. I wouldn't be proud like I would have been back in the 90s. Like I was back in the 90s. Proud to work for this company. And it's because of people like Alex DeCampi and Ramon Villalobos. Who I did not know anything about, really, or gave a shit about until Ed Piscor put their names out there. I still don't give a shit about them, but I will say this. I believe Ed Piscor. If those are the people that he accuses of killing him, I have no problem with believing that shit. I already don't like him. I've never met him. They might be good people. Who knows? I really don't give a shit. Ed Piscor, I never met him either, but something about him I was able to jive with, you know? Like I'm a little older than him. He talked about the process of drawing, like, right. I worked in the industry, so I know that he knows. He went to the school. I can't remember. He went to school like specifically to learn how to draw comic books. All right, the Kubert School, and so he knows the process. He knows the industry. So I'm able to vibe with him and Jim Rugg based on that whole understanding of how things are done. And I've never heard them. I mean, they rip on people like, oh, it could have done better, la la la. Even though, to be honest with you, a lot of the people they rip on are better than they are. Jim and Ed, right? But at the same time, that's okay, right? That's okay. But to go to extremes like these Alex DeCampis and Ramon Villalobos, it's not the same, man. Those guys, or those people, they, them, whatever the fuck, sensitive ass, whatever the fuck they are, man. Fuck those guys. Fuck them. That's my 2 cents on that. As far as the, I wanted to say something about the Ed Piscor elephant in the room since April 1st when it happened. I just forget. Not that I haven't been, mourning. It really took me for a loop. And just trying to make sense of it. But yeah, for sure. That's how I feel about it. So now you know. And that probably made this video much more entertaining, much more interesting than just me drawing Spawn. Right now I'm talking about that Piscor. I'm talking about fuck Alex DeCampi and fucking Ramon Villalobos, and as you could tell I have actually taken a shot or two. But yeah, fuck those guys. Rest in peace at Piscor. Draw Spawn, DMR in the house. Check out my next video later, and I'll talk to you in a minute. Peace.